So with that, I'd like to go ahead and move on to this morning's keynote. We're going to have Michelangelo Van Dam, a great personal friend of mine and head of Into IT Consulting Group, to come up and talk about how he himself and how you can use open source for making a successful business. Mike?
Thank you. Thank you, Eli. Wow. Good morning, everyone. Let's switch here. Nope. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. We're getting there. There you go. Thank you, Eli. Well, good morning, everyone. I had the pleasure to talk about open source for successful businesses. But when I look around, I see a lot of developers, and when I ask who does open source, I want to see all the hands raised, right? Yeah? Come on, don't be shy. There you go. But out of all of these people, who actually has a business that you run, or who contributes back to, open source? Well, it's not that much, but okay. So this talk I want to give to you, basically, if you're a developer, a freelancer, or you work for a big company, or you work for the government, you still have an ability to make a difference and still contribute back to open source. So, how do you get involved from a business perspective? Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the PHP community. You guys are in it, so you probably know all of this. But the PHP community is all about organizing events, making sure that we have something that we can share and that we can all gather around. We also have projects, and today's announcement was that JoinIn now has full features for accepting talks and rating talks and all that. So, I mean, this is community, and it wasn't for Chris, we didn't have any feedback. I call JoinIn to be the continuous integration for speakers. And of course, the many, many volunteers that you will see at this event, other events, they all chip in. Not because they get rich out of it. They don't get any credits for it. They do this because they want to make a difference and help out the people that organize a conference or an event. So, whenever I started organizing user group meetups, most of the time I pay things out of my own pocket. So, hey, let's order pizza. I just bought it. And I don't know, who is in a user group here? Who leads a user group? How many times have you picked up the bill by yourself? Yeah, there you go. You see? So it's not that really uncommon. And we need to have some sort of a support system, because we can do this once, we can do this twice, but if we keep on doing it, yeah, our wallets will be empty by the end of the month. So getting that support, and this is where businesses are playing a very huge role in getting that support going. Because we have things like Kickstarter projects. By the way, if you want to have this nice elephant, go to this PHP diversity on into.se and join the Kickstarter project. It's an elephant that represents the diversity in our community. So go back it up. But these are small things that we can actually do to get a little bit of funding. So, when you are a business or part of a business, what can you do to become part of that open source community? Well, first of all, let's ask some businesses like Microsoft. Why are they engaging with open source? Well, first of all, they enable, because an open and flexible platform meets all the developers where you are and how you can make that investment that you work with a true value. For integration, embracing ecosystems, the leading ecosystems, so they can actually have additional open source offerings. They release with the support in a strong ecosystem. They can achieve more with the Microsoft open their own portfolio of products. And of course, because they extend the community and reach more people, partners, and get the first-class experiences, they actually interact and participate within that open source community. This is a huge business. This is a hosting company back in Belgium, very small, but they engage with the community because they want to learn technology in an early stage, because they talk to you one-on-one, learning where development is going, where innovation is going. They get in touch with people so they can actually provide support on the spot. They follow up on technological evolutions and trends, and it's also very easy for them to find new partners, new customers, and most of all, new employees. JetBrains, I had this discussion with Gary yesterday, I think. For JetBrains, it's the same thing. You get immediate feedback on your products. You get immediate support from your communities. And the more that JetBrains supports the community, the better their products become. And we all will like better products, right? Connecting with the brand, with the open source community, even boost their sales. So from their point of view, being part of the community makes a lot of sense. Cube is a competitor of mine, and they engage with the community because they want to have the visibility for potential employees, but also for partners to work with. They also have that embedded feeling that they want to give back to the community. They also want to have something that they can actually say, hey, thank you community, we have gained so much from you, let's pay it back forward. And building a business on top of quality open source projects. That was their mindset. We use a open source stack and we build a successful business out of it. And of course, they love being part of the engaging group that you have here. Who knows Akia in the room? All right. For those that don't, it's the company behind Drupal. So Drupal is also a very famous open source platform. And they say they want to have access to everyone's best practices and innovation, share best technical solutions, cooperate on a technical level, but compete on a business level. They also say, especially for government, it's a real multiplier because it's a reusable infrastructure. It's open source, so they can actually have audits on it, and they can actually enter that user's government system. Just by making the difference, saying, hey, we have this open source project, you can use it for free, try it out. And if you buy it once, or get it once, you get continuously improvements for free for the rest of the usage of it. And in the end, they get more secure products. Last but not least, these are my motivations to be part of the open source community. I learn about the internals, I engage with people from PHP Core, and I meet the experts where I can go to get advice or support. If I'm stuck, I just walk up and they will help me. It's also a way for me to offer better services to my clients and give them the best service that I can give them because of my connection with the open source community. And I also find the gratitude in giving back and pay it forward. So I can go on and talk about more businesses. I mean, everyone here that works for a business probably has the same statement or a similar statement. But in the end, it's all about keeping up to date on new technologies. That's why you engage with the community. Being able to establish a network of support and advice with peers from either the projects that you use or the community that is involved. You get feedback on your product or your services the moment that you start talking to people. That's why you have all the sponsor booths out there. If you use one of their services, it's a great opportunity to tell them how did it go for you, what were your concerns. Interact with these people. That's why they are here. It's also great for hiring new employees. If you already have committed your stuff to an open source project, there's no need for you to take a test at requirements. No, you can say, hey, there's my repositories. I've been committing to this project for so long, and I've seen people that get hired just because they committed constantly to a specific open source project. So, and of course, finding new customers through your contributions is also a great way. For instance, if you guys know Rove Team, they only have customers because of their commitment to Zen Framework. I always stated myself that open source is a state of mind. I come home, there's nothing on TV, I open my laptop, start coding, and then, hey, I've got a bug, fix it, contribute, done. It's a state of mind. I just do it, I don't actually think about it. And hopefully that after these sessions that you will have this conference here, you will have that same state of mind. You go out, you see a bug, you point it out, you fix it, you put a support ticket out there. At least let people know how to improve their business. So the question is, how do you get involved? I mean, I'm talking about being part of a community and all that, but how do you actually get involved? And this is not just for businesses, this is for every individual in this room. Like I said, the easiest way to get involved is report bugs. If something is broken, let people know about this. Because most of the time you reach that edge case that no one else in that company or that service has ever seen. Report it and it might get solved. Fix issues, add some features. That's already a more advanced step. So if you're working on a project and you see it's broken, fix it and commit back through a pull request. Maybe you say, hey, I'm missing this extraordinary feature, add it to the repository. Developers are very bad at writing documentation. I mean, I am. Who else? Come on, be honest. There you go. Writing documentation is one thing that we're not really good at. So if you have that fantastic skill, that you have the ability to write out words that really mean something for people, write the documentation for a project that you love. You will help a lot of other people with it. And if writing documentation is not your thing, but you are good at languages, maybe help in translations. Because the more translations that are out there for a certain project, the better it is for people to pick up on it. So the projects can go better. And there are many other ways that you can help. If you have a business and you have a large meeting room, why not invite the user group to come and have a meetup at your office? Because all the community leaders that you have seen here, the biggest challenge is, where do we have our next meeting? So if you have a company, reach out to a community near you, invite them over. It's good for your brand, and it's also good for the community. Maybe buy some food and drinks at a local meetup. It's how much is it? Like maybe $200, and you have pizza, you have happy developers, and yeah, at least you get in touch with those folks. And you can have like nice conversations. Hey, how do you like this session? And so on and so on. Sponsor events. We do this at many conferences. We like to offer people coffee, because we know that after a full session, people are desiring for some stimulants. So we cannot offer here other things, so coffees are good. If you are a hosting company, why not offer an open source project some hosting space? Campbell, the company I talked to about in Belgium, they host Joined-in. Why? Because Joined-in requires hosting. And Campbell said, well, come on here. We have servers. Use it. And if you have the ability to say, I'm in charge of developers, and I can have them work like maybe 20% of their time on open source projects, that would be awesome. Because what we miss in our open source community is development time. Especially companies like Microsoft, they have dedicated people working on open source stuff, but that's only a fraction from all the projects that are out there. So if you have the ability to say 20% or maybe 10% that developers can spend working on an open source project, fixing bugs, taking in pull requests, writing documentation, whatever, that would already make a huge difference. But then I get the question, yeah, okay, this is all nice and peachy, but what's my return on investment? Well, I can already tell you, it's not something that you will do now and get the gains immediately. You need to do this in a long-term perspective. Because you will create partnerships as a business or as a freelancer. You will reach out to the people that are making the difference inside your community. You get valuable feedback on your products and services, and that's the most important part. You want to make your products better. Also, brand awareness. Everyone now recognizes this logo, right? It's also good for beta testing. If you have a known group of people that have interacted with your product or services, you can invite them to try something new, something that's not out for the public. You can have them test it, give them let them give you feedback, improve it, and by the time that you're ready to roll out, your product will be in better shape. Another nice thing is the moment that you buy something, you can use it forever. That's the whole open source mentality. Buying in, participating in it, you will be engaging with that community, and that will give you a lifetime of achievements and rewards. And in the end, if you're looking for new developers, if you're looking for new hires, instead of going over all these job sites, look at what people are contributing to the projects that you work with. Look at what the people have been continuously been pushing forward on those contributions. They might be the best hires that you can get. And if you ever get in a problem situation, you can reach out to that community with whom you already have established a good relationship with. That's a very strong and very powerful support network. And because of your contributions, your engagements within that open source community, it will give you that leadership position that you're seeking for. So, how did it change our company? Well, we founded Into IT in 2009, me and my wife. And our goal was to become the #1 PHP consulting services business in Belgium. For those who don't know Belgium is about the size of Maryland. So being good at one state would be already good for us. So what did we do? We tried it with traditional advertisements, and we had enough of Google ads put in place. But we're also contributing to the open source community, sponsoring events and stuff like that. And we did this over the course of 3 years. But as we have seen in our return on investments, that the traditional advertisement didn't work for us. The more that we got involved with the open source community, the higher gains we got. And to make it more concrete, we got nothing from traditional ads. Google Ads was almost nil. Sponsoring events got us a little bit of return, but being engaging with the open source community and contributing to the open source community gave us a whole lot more of customers. The same thing for 2014 and 2015. We completely dropped the traditional advertisement and Google Ads. And now we can say that we have one of the leadership positions in Europe. While Belgium is this tiny little piece on the map, we now have customers in France, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, Italy, and Spain. And we're still expanding. And it's still me and my wife. We don't have any other people on board. All this was going to be very impossible without open source. I owe my business, my career, to open source. And I think many of the people that you will see here will have that same story to tell. So open source has given the ability to engage with communities and grow professional beyond our imagination. Like I said, our goal was Belgium. We're now part of Europe. So we can achieve big things by being very small. And I think that you guys can do the same thing, especially in a market like the US. Because community works. Through the community, we get enormous amount of feedback. What we did good, what we did bad, and even what we should never do again. And sometimes it's harsh, but the feedback is still very real, very good. And for us, being engaged with the community is only 1% of the whole journey that we're taking. We get our products improved and our services better. We get more satisfied customers, and these satisfied customers, they lead to more satisfied customers. And what I'm doing basically here is evangelism. And I think the majority of the people are so proud about their product or their open source project that they love talking about it, becoming an evangelist for their product as well, for their open source projects. By giving little, which is in air quotes, we have gained so much in return. And we want to keep on going and giving because we will see how great it works for the community. Unfortunately, we have to be aware of a couple of dangers. Because over all these years that I've been involved, I've seen a lot of people taking it a little bit too high and became arrogant and say, hey, I contributed to this and now I want my support. That's not how it works. I also have talked to businesses that had set very high expectations. They think that, oh, I'm using this open source project and therefore all my problems will be solved. No, it will solve one problem, maybe two, but not all your problems. So be aware of the reality. And Zen was so kind enough to announce this last week, I think, that SLAs are not guaranteed. So you have your open source projects, but when you're dealing with businesses, they want to know, okay, what's my support? Where can I get my guarantees? All that stuff. Open source doesn't give you any guarantees. It will give you an open source community. And when you're doing business, you need to be aware of this. It's not like you make a call out on IRC saying, hey, this is broken, can someone help me fix it? That you will get an immediate answer. It might take a few days. And they will expect you to do a little bit of research before you reach out to that community. So you need to be aware of this. And don't take everything for granted. It's not because you have a project and you make it open source that all of a sudden you're going to make billions of dollars out of it. It could be that nobody is interested in your product. And sometimes you put out something out on GitHub, and before you actually know it, you have like 200 contributors to that project. And all of a sudden you need to invest some money to have someone managing all these pull requests. So you need to be very aware of that. Another thing that I've seen, which is, in my opinion, to see, but I've seen businesses that see, oh, they're doing this and we're going to build on their reputation. That's maybe good for a few months, maybe a year, but the flashback will be enormous because everyone will publicly shame you on the social medias. People will ignore you and the community will drop you like a brick. So be aware that you don't take others' reputation as your stepping stone. In the end, it's all about earning that seat at the table. By providing a commitment, a continuous effort that you want to put in, you will earn a seat at the table. And it's not because you have that seat that that seat will be there forever. It's not, oh, I'm done now. No, you need to keep on giving and contributing and giving back. So, time to swing the clue bit. If you are in an area with a thriving community, no matter what kind of community, invest in it. Especially local communities are more powerful for you, for your business, for your own career, than remote communities. Give because you want to give. It's not because I'm here on stage saying you need to contribute that all of a sudden you need to contribute. You need to have the will yourself. If it's not there, don't bother. You need to have that personal desire to do something right. Earn the respect. This was my son when he was like 6 years old. All of a sudden he goes grabbing the vacuum cleaner and starts vacuum cleaning. He earned his respect. It's not because I tell you something to do that you do it, that's fine. But you see something wrong, you point it out, you fix it, you push it back. That's when you earn respect. And keep on doing this, and that you will gain respect within your larger group. Because in the end, all I want to do is do better business. I want to improve my services, I want to improve my commitment to my clients, and I want to earn the respect from my partners. So that's why I'm contributing to the open source community. So there's coffee. Have one on us. Thank you very much. Have a good conference.
All right, thank you, Mike. For everybody, the next sessions begin at 10 a.m. Go grab a coffee and enjoy your day.